Yeah. What got me into ministry, like I said, I was a church rat. So I was always at the church after school, after practice. I'd always go over there for at least a few minutes and say, hey, is there anything I can do? Whatever. So I remember I was going into my senior year, going into my junior, I don't remember. But I was like a junior in high school. And like we were at this conference called Summer in the Sun at Kentucky Christian University or college at the time, and we had been through this whole worship service, and this guy was on stage and he was talking about this story of these Roman soldiers who were Christians, and they had they were being disciplined for being Christians, and the officer who was disciplining them had stripped them down to nothing and put them in the middle of a frozen lake.
Right.
And then put guards all the way around the lake so they couldn't leave. And all you had to do was walk off the lake, and that was you renouncing your faith and accepting that Caesar or whatever was the highest power in your life. Well, these guys just start singing and they huddle together and like they just band together, and all of a sudden you see one of them just streak out, like they're gone, and one of the guards around them is so moved by what's going on, like he just starts running towards the middle of the lake, stripping everything down, and essentially accepts Christ right there. So that's the story that's being told, and the point of the message is, man, we're going to come upon hardships, we're going to be doing things, but God is calling us to something greater, to something bigger. And those Roman soldiers ended up freezing to death on that lake right there. And he's saying, what are you willing to give for Christ? And I just remember this tug on my heart, like, you need to go forward. And I'm like, I'm a Christian. I've already rededicated my life to, like, if you don't know what Christian conferences happen, like, one of the questions is, if you've never accepted Christ, will you come and accept Christ for the first time? Right. If you have and you're not living the kind of life that you should, let's what's called rededicate, or let's try again. Like, right. let's make this the turning point. And then, so I'm like, I've done those things recently. Like, what do you want me to do, God? Like, right. But I just know I'm supposed to take that step. So I just kind of close my eyes and music starts, and I remember taking one step, and all of a sudden I'm at the front of the room on my knees, like, and I'm just like, what's going on? Yeah. And my youth pastor comes up. His name's Phil. Phil comes up and puts his arm around me. He goes, "What are you doing, Zach? What's going on?" And I'm just like, I think I'm supposed to go into ministry. Yeah. Like, when I opened my mouth, I wasn't sure what I was going to say. I'm like, oh, this is news. So, I did that, and a couple years pass, and now I'm at Kentucky Christian University. Kentucky Christian University. College, university, whatever. Uh-huh. They changed names just while I was there.
Pointing out the Kentucky.
I hear you. I know what you're saying. So I'm doing this internship during the summer out in Las Vegas at a church out there, and it's junior high, and I remember I'm called by the junior high pastor that I'm going to be working with that summer, and he says, "Hey, Zach, on your resume it says that you play the guitar. Would you be willing to lead some worship for us?" And I don't know why I have to do this while I'm mimicking talking on the phone, but right. I have to. Right. And without skipping a beat, I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And when I put on my resume that I play guitar, it means that I owned a guitar and I knew a chord or two.
Yeah. You just need to know 4 cowboy chords.
It's true.
Especially in that era.
It's true. Anyway, we talked for a little while longer, and I hang up the phone, and I remember hanging up the phone and thinking,
I got to learn how to play guitar now.
Did I just say yes to that? What are you doing? So I went down to my buddy Joel's room, and I had another buddy named Charlie, and they were really good guitarists, and I'm like, okay, this is what happened. Help me. So they taught me how to play guitar in a couple hours, how much they were like, here, just do this and use a capo and you'll be fine. Okay, so I went out to Las
You
Vegas.
still do that.
Yeah, I do. I still use
still
capo.
do that.
Yeah, but I don't use the capo like that.
Okay.
Then I was just
Okay.
here, play GCD and move the capo around, which is still basically what it. Anyway, so we're out in Las Vegas, and I remember the first time getting up on stage, and I've got like the Britney Spears microphone.
Oh yeah. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Yeah, and I've got a full band behind me.
Yeah.
I've never done this before. And all of a sudden, there's like 200 junior hires
Oh no.
chilling out in the room, like waiting. And I'm just like,
Romans 16:19, baby. Here we come.
yeah, right. I think that might have been one of the songs.
I believe it.
I do.
I believe it.
So
There are still church camps singing that song.
yes, there are.
Stop it if you're at one.
It's a great campfire song. It's a great a cappella campfire song for kids.
Sure, for kids maybe.
Yes. What is that song? What is that song based off of? Nothing. That's just its own song. Anyway, sorry, I'm thinking of something else.
Okay.
We're gonna focus here for a second. Anyway, I get up and I lead worship, and it's probably just the worst.
Yep.
I don't remember much of it. I just remember coming down off that stage with this fire in me, like, oh my gosh, this is it.
Yep.
Like I had been studying youth ministry, and I was doing an internship in youth ministry, and I was like, this is good. I like this.
Yeah.
But I came off that stage and was like, boom, like this is what my whole life has been preparing me for.
Right.
This is what God's been preparing me for my whole life.
Yeah.
And so I went back to school after that summer, spent one more semester in youth ministry classes, and then switched my major. Like I went home and told my parents, I want to switch my major. And they were like, you're entering your, junior year of college. What?
I want to change my major to the longest and hardest major possible.
Yes, I ended up spending 7 years in college, and still didn't. I graduated with a university studies degree because basically nobody else
every
would.
class now.
Nobody else would give me more money to finish my degree. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to graduate. So, So now I am doing both student ministry and music ministry here at FCC, and like it's been crazy to see how this long road that God's taken me on to get me to this point has prepared me. And it's not that I know what I'm doing; it's just that He's taught me how to like He's given me that bedrock of knowledge, and now it's just like, okay, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
But it is. It's been super cool to watch and have happened to. I'm not sure I'd wish anyone like change their major in the middle of their like fifth semester in college. But
So in the middle time, you worked at several churches part-time, like even a
Yes.
couple at a time part-time.
yes,
So, and I have a feeling that some of the guys are going to watch this, some of the gals are going to watch this, are in that part-time thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe in that hurdle before they get into ministry.
yeah.
And so, you have a lot of experience with that because you did that for several years.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So, okay, after I graduated from college, I couldn't get a job for the first month or so of graduating. So I was working at Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And working at Pizza Hut in Grayson, Kentucky, while we were trying to figure out what my wife was going to do for her internship and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. One day I get a call from my dad. Hey, I was talking to our youth pastor. Again, the phone. Mm-hmm. I was talking to our youth pastor.
You know what's funny about that, don't you?
What?
So what's funny about your phone is that when you use the phone today, you do this.
Yes, you're right.
This is your phone.
And even then, it was a cell phone that I was talking on because we've never had a landline since we've been married.
Yeah, but it was like a Motorola Razr probably. So
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
more accurate.
This is more accurate. Anyway, my dad calls me. Hey, Bill, our youth pastor at our home church. We were talking about what's going on with you, and he's like, I'll take you on as my intern for the year. I'm like, oh, ministry experience. Let's go. So we moved back to my hometown, even in with my parents for a few weeks. And I spent a year interning for very little pay at my home church, and my wife also interned at my home church, so that was a huge blessing that we were able to be at the same place, because we were at that point we were ready to not be together.
Yeah, because
To spend a year apart.
Because I have friends in ministry that, like, he's at one place and she's at another
And
place.
that's terrifying to me.
It would be brutal. It'd be brutal.
So, anyway, after that year of ministry, I'm looking for a worship pastor job, a worship ministry job, and nothing's just coming up. Like, everybody wants somebody with 5 years experience, or they want you to have experience leading worship at this size of church, or or I don't interview well, and whatever. And so, like, I am just totally dejected at this point. Like, I even went out and got flown to a church. They interviewed me like there. I was out in Nebraska somewhere, and they were like, yeah, this might be a good fit. And I get back home, get the phone call the next day. We don't know what, but something's just not right. And this isn't going to fit.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what. So I'm just like, I hit maybe my lowest depression ever. Because I thought, this is where we're moving. Like, we were looking at houses and all this stuff. And so my wife, who is now working 2 jobs, one at the mall at our kids, and one at this pest control company as like a part-time like file organizer.
Right.
Like, is doing these 2 jobs, and I'm sitting at home in bed, like, not playing Halo.
Yeah.
Like, I am that guy. And so all of a sudden one day I get a call, and she's like a couple days into this job, this Action pest control job, which she still has, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, that little part-time thing, she is now like one of the like longest employed people in her department. So now she calls me and she says, hey, the girls are taking me out to lunch at Olive Garden. There's a sign out front that they are hiring. You need to go apply.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, oh, this is a good option. This might be an option for you. It was, you better put in an application by the end of the day, or else we're going to have some serious marital issues.
Yep.
Which I talked to her about a couple weeks ago, and she was like, yeah, that was fair. So I did, and begrudgingly, I got this job at Olive Garden, and I kept it for 4 or 5 months. And in that time, I started working at this United Church of Christ as a Saturday night contemporary service worship leader. It was an interesting gig for a while. Like, I kept that job for a couple years. And then they decided this just wasn't working, and they nixed the position. But also during that time, what let me stop working at Olive Garden was I got a call from a Methodist church on the other side of town, like people I didn't know at all, but somebody had come to my home church's worship pastor and said, hey, who's the guy that is just kind of whatever? Like, who would you recommend for our worship pastor part-time thing?
Right.
And he gave me my name. And so I led worship at this Methodist church on Sunday morning for 3 years, I think. And like developed a whole music ministry there. And while I'm working at this UCC church, but the Methodist church allowed me to not work at Olive Garden because it was killing my soul.
Not that Olive Garden's a bad place.
No, it's
but
just
when you want to be doing ministry,
and you're
anything
waiting
else is
tables.
terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I am working at this UCC church and this Methodist church for about 2 years together. At the same time, I'm also like basically the official worship leader for the college ministry at my home church.
Yeah.
And so like every week I'm planning that service. I'm planning like, that gathering. I'm planning Sunday morning for the Methodist church, and I'm planning Saturday night for the UCC church. And like,
so 3 churches one time. You're working at 3 places
Yes.
at one time.
Being paid for 2
Okay. But volunteering at the
and
third.
volunteering at the third.
Okay.
And every once in a while I'm leading for youth group at my home church too.
Yeah.
Like, it was a crazy time.
Yeah.
It was great because people are talking about 5 years of experience. I got 5 years of experience in like a year and a half.
Right.
But it was awesome and horrible at the same time because it's one of those things where I'm working at 2 places, volunteering at another. None of them I can put my whole self into.
Yeah, and I think that,
And none of them are the same.
and I think the fact that you're working at 2 but choosing to volunteer at a third kind of shows you where your heart was in all of that.
Just having my attention and my relationships so divided up amongst these like 3 very different groups of people. It was draining. It was hard. Fortunately, I was pretty young and I could keep my energy up. So I did that for I did the 3 for 2 years, and then there was a time where the UCC dropped me, and I was at these other places for 1 year, and then you called me,
Yeah.
and within a week I had a job.
Yeah, that's been one of the best and worst things about our congregation is we're very fast moving.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not as great.
Yeah, because sometimes they hire people like me, and it's
Yeah, well,
awkward.
Yeah, that's that guy.